Okay, today we're on Tract 11 in Plaza de la Vista Ranch along Highway 12. We're only about 2 miles off of the pavement on the highway there. We're about 20 minutes west of Trinidad, Colorado along Highway 12 and about halfway to the mountains. This is a great location for getting up to the mountains or getting back down to town with ease of access. You got a nice drive that goes through this property that they built in here and put gravel in here, going back to a private build site or campsite right on the back side of this hill. The majority of the tract runs down into this canyon down here below and around the bend, and it's okay. I just want to take a quick look at the aerial so you can see what I was jabbering on about. Anyway, we're about right here where my thumb is located, right there. And this loop here was an old campsite deal they put in, but this road right here that goes back to this site right back here in the back with the meadow in front of it is going to have all your western mountain views. And then you see how this road goes along here to this corner, and then you got to circle around the little valley and come back, and then we'll be able to drive along that boundary right there, the eastern boundary basically, and to the northern far end boundary where that meadow is right there. Looking at the track. So right now we're just going to drive in through here and go back to the camp spot that's going to be right in front of us here. Okay, the view that you saw right when we just started is that's a Fisher's Peak that sits over Trinidad, Colorado. So it's about 20 minutes back down to Trinidad along Highway 12. So you got some nice gravel that they put in here. Colorado Springs is the closest airport. It's about an hour and a half away. We're on top of this little mound here. I walked up just from the RV and campsite. Now we're looking back east towards Fisher's Peak here. That sits over Trinidad. And we've got Raton Pass here where you go about 5 miles and you're into Raton, Mexico. If you head north on I-25, you can get to Pueblo, and then Colorado Springs, where the closest airport's at, about an hour and a half away from here. Got this nice plateau here, and the rest of the track drops down the valley below, which we'll be able to drive around and access all of. It's real gentle. You got plenty of places that you could do things on this property. Fence it yourself if you want to have some livestock. There's no power to this track. The power is about, probably about 1.5 miles down the road. And it'd probably run you 10-15 grand to run power up here along the roads. So you have the Sangre de Cristos. This would be the best build site when I'm standing on here. You really get a 360-degree view, and you get a real good feel of your land and oversee most of it as well. A little pad site with the for RV and camping right now. It's right there below my feet. So that's the east and west Spanish Peak, and that's about northwest of the site here. And then you have the Sangre de Cristos, it's about west. And we swing around to the south. So we're going to be driving that road down there, which that borders right now part of the track. So it goes down in this little valley, grass valley, and then back to the road over there. And then there's a loop where it doesn't border. And then it borders as it comes around here to the north, where the northern stretch ends up coming off this way. Okay, we're going to head back down there. Okay, we're just spinning around here on the drive. Real nice gravel they put in here. It'll spend, I don't know, make this road and drive in here $6,000-7,000 or more. Put all this nice gravel in here. So this is the land down in the bottom here, and it's going to follow that creek bed down there. And you can see where that road loops around. That portion, that little hill that loops around, isn't a part of this track. I don't know if you see that road over there. So, let's drive on out and drive on up to the northern portion of the property. And there's Fisher's Peak over Trinidad. We'll come back and lock the little lock up there. Okay, we're still going along on this little, they had their original campsite down here, so they got a little chain, they made a little loop right there, a road. So we're going away from the property now. We're going on that little loop you see on the topo that takes us out and around. You see this canyon dropping off down here below. We won't get back to the property. That hillside there is what we were just standing on. Right back up there for the 360 views that drops off in this canyon down below. Come around here. That far hillside back there is the 360 top to that property, and the campsite there is right across the other side. So now we're coming down this valley here. So that hillside right there with that mesa top we were on is all a part of that property. Right when we get down here to this little bend and start taking a right back to the other direction here, we're gonna be back to the we're gonna be back to the property corner again. Oh yeah, okay, so let's get our head wrapped around this thing again and watch where we're going. So this is the property here. Again, coming back on this eastern boundary. I go up here to the northern. Okay, we're on the northern boundary now. We just took that left after our little spin out. So basically this canyon right here, you can see the marker there. This ranch has very well marked property corners. That's the far northwestern corner we're sitting at. You can see it on the topo and the aerial. So it comes down and includes this arroyo, but that mesa top up there is where that campsite's at, and the build spot's at that we drove to real easily up before. So you got a nice little draw down here to attract some animals and see some wildlife and stuff. And we're headed back out from that northwestern corner, and everything on my right is the property heading up to that mesa. And that road that you see up there is the little loop that on the aerial that is not a part of the boundary of this property, where we just came sliding down the hill. Probably should put the camera down next time I start doing something like that. So this is all the property going up this arroyo here. You go back up to that mesa top up there, you can see that property marker right there. Some neat little canyon stuff right there. You got different benches that drop down all the way down here. If you look at that topo and really kind of study it, you've got about 15 acres of good usable ground up on top with we're near that campsite and build site or whatever you want to do with it up there, and then some neat hiking country around it. And we're coming back up this hill I wasn't paying attention to when I was coming down. Right here, just slid around that. So here's the canyon we're coming up from the northeast corner. We're back up on top here. Fisher's Peak over Trinidad. Now the land is way over there again. We're on that little loop going around that area where you can't, where we go away from the property for a bit. Now we're coming back to it, and you can see the drive starting to go up the little hill there where it goes to the campsite and RV site over there, build site, and that's the canyon we just took pictures of down below there. Pretty property with a lot of usable ground, like I say, about 15 acres worth, and most tracts got maybe 1 to 5 acres at the most. So that's the way you'd go into it here. You got to put the little cable back up across the drive. I want to show you a little bit of the drive as we're coming out of the ranch. It's not that far. This time I'm going to pay a little more attention when I'm driving. So that's the Cachara River Valley down below, and where Highway 12 runs. So you can see it from here. We just left the driveway up there where we started. Right back up there. Tract 11 is just on the other side of that hill there, on that mesa top. We've been in a severe drought for about 2 months before the monsoons have kind of half-heartedly picked up. But we had almost no measurable moisture for 2 months. And when you're supposed to get most of your heavy snows during the spring, and you don't get any of that, and then June is historically dry anyway. Everything's pretty darn brown and crispy. So the grass could be greener, that's for certain. Come down here, get down here to the bottom, and we just circle around here and go down that road right over there. Brought back down to Highway 12 there.